The first year I was governor, we had our education budget, if you're in the school district, you can know how hard this was, wasn't approved until December 21st, because we were the only large state in the union that didn't give any money to pre-K education. And we all know how fundamental and basic pre-K is. I fought with the legislature for almost 6 months, finally got an education budget with $280 million in pre-K, and we built that up to nearly $1 billion for pre-K and full-day kindergarten and tutoring and smaller class sizes from K through 3. But it was my second year that we launched what we call Science It's Elementary. And the beauty of the ASSET program, it wasn't a high school program. It was for kids in the elementary school up to middle school. And the ASSET program took them through the continuum. What's special about the ASSET program is that it's a program that does. The kids do, they participate, they actually do things rather than just read about them in a book or hear about them in a lecture at class. Teachers get taken out of service over the summer or whatever for 2.5, 3-week program of intensive training in the Science It's Elementary method. And there are teaching coaches who go from building to building as the program rolls out in its early years. It's worked dramatically. I'm just going to put on my glasses so I can read some of the results. It has worked dramatically in 4 of 6 comparisons, comparing kids who went through Science It's Elementary to kids who didn't. And we only have Science It's Elementary in about 134 of our schools. We add a little money to it each year to increase the growth. And in Pennsylvania, we have this local tradition of education. I can't mandate anything. I can offer money if a district wants to take up a program. We're in 134 schools, 72,000 students in Pennsylvania go through ASSET. We've trained over 2,900 teachers in the ASSET, in the Science It's Elementary method of doing it. And Horizon Research found that students who've gone through Science It's Elementary have gains above students who haven't, ranging from 16 to 44% in science achievement. Now, I visited one of the Science It's Elementary classes, and just to give you an idea of to keep the program in context, first we started very young. We started in 2nd grade. We go all the way through 8th grade. Second, it's a participatory program. The day I was in the classroom, the students were learning how rain occurs. And when I learned how rain occurs, I read it in a book, and a teacher stood at a blackboard and lectured. And I think 2 days after I learned it, I forgot it. What the kids that I saw in the Science It's Elementary classroom learned, they're never going to forget. Because what they did in the classroom, and there are 2 kids to each experiment, and the kids get a workbook, and the workbook tells them about the experiment, then they have to fill in the workbook after they've gone through the experiment. But this experiment was a plastic container like you keep food in, an airtight plastic container with a lid. In the container itself was warm water sloshing around in the bottom of the container. The lid was snapped on tight, and at the top of the container, they put a block of dry ice. And the kids watched. And of course, as you know, but the combination of the heat going up from the warm water and the cold going down from the dry ice, after a while, condensation and essentially clouds formed in the tent, and then as the class went on, it started to rain. Now, no one's going to forget that. No kid is ever going to forget the lesson that they did, they saw, they participated in. It's going to leave an indelible mark in their brain, and it gets them excited about science. That was the best thing. I also, after I watched the experiment, I sat down with children, parents, teachers, administrators, the tech person in charge of technology in the school, and we talked about the program. And the best part of it was it gets the kids excited about education. Very similar to our program, we have a program called Classrooms of the Future that cost us $200 million while I've been governor. We put a laptop computer in every core classroom, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grades. And that's almost in every school in Pennsylvania now. We also put a smart board in. The teachers get trained on the smart board. There is one trainer for every 2 buildings. that are in classrooms of the future. And the best part of classrooms are the two parts. Every student will graduate from Pennsylvania knowing how to use a computer. Now, you may laugh, all of you may laugh, but the most elemental jobs now need you to be conversant in how to use a computer. There are bank teller jobs, and you may be surprised to learn there are still bank tellers, but there are. There are bank teller jobs that are going unfilled because they pay in the low 30s, but they require you to be totally conversant in computers and word processing. And either the folks who are qualified go for other jobs, although maybe not in this economy, or the folks who would love a $32,000 job with benefits aren't conversant in computers. Well, I don't want that to happen to one Pennsylvania graduate, not one. The second reason that we do this is because teachers, parents, and the students themselves, principals tell me, the excitement in the classroom is palpable. You don't teach off a blackboard. You don't teach off textbooks. The kids solve problems on the computers. I visited classrooms of the future classrooms, and there are 3 kids huddled around a computer working on something, inputting as the teacher works with them off the smart board. And it was so different than when I went to school. When I went to school, most of our classrooms, probably like you, kids were lying around daydreaming or doodling or doing something. They weren't engaged. Classrooms of the future, the use of technology gets the kids engaged, gets them anxious to come to school. And to me, that's more than half the battle, more than half the battle. So we have to continue going down that road. Look, all of the things we've done pay off. You talk about, experimenting, and I didn't know the things that we would do would have such results. We put about $4.5 billion a year annually more into education than the year before I became governor. But we don't give school districts blank checks. We give the money for programs that the science of education tells us work. Everyone knows that full-day kindergarten makes a radical difference in a child's achievement curve, K through 12. So why would Pennsylvania or any other state not have full-day kindergarten? Everyone knows that after-school tutoring, 5 children to 1 teacher, will remediate kids and bring them up to proficiency in math or reading very, very quickly. We were spending $0 on tutoring. We now spend about $70 million on tutoring. We tutor 100,000 kids, mostly in elementary school, but we're tutoring a lot of 7th, 8th, and 9th graders as well now, because we're finding the transition from middle school to high school is one of the most difficult transitions of all, and we lose a lot of kids. So all of these things are working. They're working. We have had tremendous educational gains. In fact, the Center for Education Research, a nonpartisan think tank in Washington, just found that Pennsylvania was the only state in the union to have made substantial progress on the national tests. You can't trust the state tests because a lot of states dumb their tests down. And hopefully Secretary Duncan's going to change that. But on the national test, in the last 7 years, Pennsylvania is the only state in the union to make significant progress in achievement in every subject at every grade level tested. And that's something we're really proud of.